Today is July 25th, 2025, and I have some things that I want to share, which is why I'm back. Hi, nice to meet you. I hope you're doing well. The journey of healing is not linear, and I know that's something that we have all heard before, right? The deeper I go into myself, into my inner space, into understanding myself, into loving myself, the more I realize the parts of myself that need the most attention. With being adults, with having full lives, we're spread so thinly across so many different avenues, between work, between family, between friends, between dating and relationships, just wanting to achieve our hopes and dreams, that we bury things so that we can actually show up in this world and not be pummeled by pain. And one thing I will say, that all humans, no matter if you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Australian, you're Japanese, no matter where you come from, no matter what culture you identify with, no matter what your religious beliefs are, we were all born. We had a childhood, we had adolescence, we went through our teenage years, we became young adults, and then we became adults. And everything that affects us globally affects all of us, no matter where you come from. So something like COVID took so many years off of all of our lives that we will never be able to get back. And whatever you did during that time, you may reap the benefits of. Um, but I say all of that to say that this week I realized something so freaking gut wrenching about myself that I really think will benefit so many people if you really do sit and listen to this message. I'm a single woman. I'm 28. I live in New Jersey. I would say that I am definitely and have always been more of a spiritual person. Now, with being a spiritual person comes being more receptive, more aware of the energies around you, which is why I always say ignorance is truly bliss. Ignorance is bliss because the less that you know, the less you're responsible for. And in the Bible, God does say that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And it is true. Having the lack of knowledge and not knowing what you should know will definitely have you perishing. However, perishing is actually a lot more fun than sustaining yourself and doing the things and living a righteous life. But that's not this conversation. This conversation is about what I realized running into an old friend. So I went through something many, many years ago. I don't know how many years, maybe like 7 years ago. Like, I went through a near death experience, right? I went through a multitude of experiences that truly changed me. The fact that I survived all the things that I survived and I'm still kicking, still breathing, still standing, still confident shows that there is purpose in my life. And if you are somebody who has been through some things that you feel were sent to take you out, or that you didn't know that if you were going to escape, I want you to know that you have a purpose here on this planet, in this world. You're meant to impact someone with your story, so share it. So I went through all of these experiences, some so embarrassing, some that made me feel so ashamed of the things that I did, the things that I said, or whatever happened, the people that I hurt. And the thing about perception is that you're not in control of it. How people perceive what you go through and what you present is not up to you. So I went through a very long period of just rebirth and death of the old self to become who I am today. And I'm always learning more and more things about myself the more that I go through and the more that I experience. And I ran into an old friend who I hadn't seen in a very long time. But this was the first time I saw this person through the eyes that I saw them. So I ran into this person and I decided that I was going to be open. But I will say, because of the things that I've experienced in this life through men, you know how men can be harassing. They make you feel unsafe. They follow you. They stalk you. They make us as beautiful women feel like we need to hide, like we don't want to be open. But you know what? If you don't remain open, and give people some type of chance, you'll never be able to learn and grow. Because if you hide yourself from the world, you will never know who you truly are, what you're truly filled with, because people unlock the doors within you just like you unlock the doors within others. Anyway, back to the story. So I've been on lots of dates, right? That's one thing to know about me. I am a dater, honey. But in this last year of dating, I have not met anyone that made me feel safe enough to open up, made me feel safe enough to even enjoy a drink responsibly. Because like I said, I do have an issue with trusting new people in my life because of just what I've experienced, right? But anyway, so I go out with this person and I feel so safe, so good. Like we're vibing, we're having a great time. And I realized that because of how safe I felt, it was like the boundaries that I usually have up to protect myself from things like oversharing or being too vulnerable, or I have the superpower that I have where I can make people cry, and like I usually don't do these things because it's like, girl, like you have to unleash the power slowly. You can't just unleash on everybody. You have to see and test their spirit to see if they're the type of people that are even, if they're even not worthy, because everyone is worthy, but if they're even capable of being able to handle what you are, okay? If you're a chosen woman and you're a woman who has been through a lot and has healed from a lot, you are a lot, and there is nothing wrong with being a lot. And I feel like through this date, after the date, I felt so small. I felt like I had made no progress. I felt like I let myself down because out of all of these dates that I've been on with all of these different people, it takes this one date with this one person who knows me, who has been in my life. Like he's been in my life through all of these different things that I've experienced. Like the things that I told you that changed me, he was present during all of them. And I thought that I had completely healed from these experiences until somebody saw me that didn't have to love me, that didn't have to see me, and chose to love me and be around me and care for me and be sweet to me. Anyway, when I tell you, I went from being a 28-year-old woman to being like a freaking 10-year-old girl. I swear. Dr. Umar, in one of his interviews, I think it was probably like a year ago on like the Don't Call Me White Girl podcast, he talked about every person has a psychological age, like the age that they are psychologically, and then they have an age that they are biologically. And this situation proved that to be very much so true, because as soon as I felt safe around him, I turned like I just lost all of the things that I am so I esteem myself on being able to do when it comes to dating, right? Because you have to protect yourself. And I say that to say that your inner child will rear that head when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And like I said, I thought I had healed from all of these things. I thought my inner child was so safe and secure. And yet, as soon as someone that knew the right things to say and they just were there with their presence that made me feel safe, I just completely realized that I have so much more inner child work to do. And I'm so grateful for that, because at first I wasn't. At first I was like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid. You didn't have your boundaries up. Oh my gosh, what about your vetting? You don't know who he is. You don't know who he is. Now, all of these questions that have absolutely nothing to do with him and everything to do with the fact that I let my guard down. And that's the thing. It was such a beautiful and fun night, like letting my hair down and having a great time. And if I hadn't done it, I don't regret a thing. And the reason I don't regret anything is because had that not happened, I would not be one recording this video right now. I would not be doing the things that I'm doing this weekend, and I wouldn't even be doing the things that I wouldn't be doing the work that is going to help me truly heal. Healing is not linear. That's another cliche that people say. Healing is not linear, but healing really is not linear. Like, but every time you actually stay in your pain and you don't mask it, you don't run from it, you don't bury it, you actually face it, you look at it, you feel through it, you journal through it, you be in it. You integrate parts of yourself with your old version. And okay, I will say that something that came out while I was out with this person was I started to miss who I was when like who I was when me and this person were friends, like closer friends than we were now. This was like a reconnection day, right? And what that reminded me of was like I have this and have always had an immense love for fashion. I've always loved, like, it was a way that I expressed myself, and it was just a way for me to stand out. And I loved, oh my gosh, I love fashion. Not loved, but like I just think about who I was during this period of time of my life that I've buried because of so much shame, guilt, and like that person was a freaking badass. She was such an icon. Oh my, I'm sorry, I gotta say it. She was an icon. She was a fashion icon. Like, I really was. I really was. I have to give myself them ones. And it's just like, with the pain that came with that period of my life, I completely pushed all of that into the deepest pockets of myself. And this person, being around this person reminded me that, wait, like, that's who you are. Get back to that. I'm not saying that I don't be throwing it on, but I'm saying that I stopped being creative with it. I stopped having fun with it. It just, I naturally am stylish, but I would actually go out of my way to think of ways to be creative and think of ways that made me feel like me. And that's the thing is, that's why identity is so important, because it gives you a sense of, obviously, a sense of self, right? But it's very important to know who you are, because it really does allow you to come into who you are at this present moment. So I say all of that to say, do not close yourself off from experiencing life. If you are in isolation, or if you have things that you've done that you're ashamed of, if you're depressed, if you're sad, if you can't get out of bed, if you don't have if you're scared to date because you've been hurt and you don't want to put yourself back out there, this is your sign to give it a chance. And even if you get hurt, look at it, at what you can learn from it. Of course, you want to protect yourself from being hurt. However, you don't want to protect yourself from the chance and the possibility of love. You have to. It's worth it. It's always worth it. Love is always worth it. And another thing that this whole situation made me realize, that another one of my superpowers is vulnerability. My honesty and my vulnerability are definitely my superpowers. And I will say that I usually think very carefully before I speak, just because I know my mouth can be a little bit, you know what I'm saying? This mouth get a little crazy. But um, I was so honest on this tape. It wasn't just me, y'all. It wasn't just me, y'all. It was also the tequila. It was also the it was also the Don Julio. It was also the Don Julio had me acting a little folio. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was also the Don Julio making me act a folio, but it was also the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, the vibes don't lie. The vibes do not lie. And it's just like, I'm so happy that even though I'm not perfect, I'm still able to connect. Like, when you've been through lots and lots and lots of trauma and pain, what happens is people become cold and callous, and your heart freezes over. And when that happens, you literally block yourself off from a huge part of life, because you're scared to love. You're scared to let somebody in because you're scared that they'll hurt you. And this video is definitely getting long, so yeah, I could go on forever and ever. If you like this video, please comment and tell me if you relate to anything that I talked about, if any of this made sense. Like I said, I just wanted to come on here because I miss doing this, and I don't want to get emotional, but um I'm so happy and proud of myself for not closing myself off to love and experiences, because that's what gives life its splat. That's really what gives life its splat. And yeah, and yeah, and yeah. Subscribe.